standing up here today and I'm not hungry. There's boiled eggs and bacon.
All right.
Compliments of Ernest. Well, bless your heart, brother. Bless your heart. Okay. You already said the prayer, right?
Yeah.
So, we're on page 69. We're on lesson 12. And the story, Jesus cast out legion. And they came over unto the other side of the sea, into the country of Gardanius. And when he was come out of the ship, immediately there met him out of the tombs a man with an unclean spirit, who had his dwelling among the tombs, and no man could bind him, no, not with chains, because that he had been often bound with feathers and chains, and the chains had been plucked asunder by him, and the feathers broken into pieces, neither could any man take. So table 1, can we read 5, 6, 7, and 8?
5, 6, 7, and 8. And always night and day was in the mountains, and in the tombs, crying and cutting stones. But when he saw Jesus afar off, he ran and worshipped him, and cried with a loud voice and said, What have I to do with thee, Jesus, thou Son of the Most High God?
That's Tommy. Tommy's not here. I don't know
I
why.
adjure thee by God that thou torment me not. For he said unto him, Come out of him, man, thou unclean spirit.
Okay, table 2, can we do 9 through 12?
And he asked him, What is thy name? And he answered, saying, My name is Legion, for we are many. And he besought him much that he would not send them away out of the country. Now there was there nigh unto the mountain a great herd of swine feeding. And all the demons besought him, saying, Send us into the swine, that we may enter into them.
And table 3, can we take 13 to 16?
And forthwith Jesus gave them leave, and the unclean spirits went out, and entered into the swine, and the herd ran violently down a steep place into the sea. There were about 2,000, and were choked in the sea. And they fed the swine, and they that fed the swine fled, and told it in the city and in the country. And they went out to see what it was that was done. And they come to Jesus and see him that was possessed and the devil, and had the legion, sitting and clothed and in his right mind, and they were afraid. And they that saw it told them how it befell to him that was possessed with the devil, and also concerning the swine.
And they began to pray him to depart out of their coast. And when he came into the ship, he had been possessed with the devil, prayed him that he might be with him. Howbeit Jesus suffered him not, but saith unto him, Go home to thy friends and tell them how great things the Lord has done for thee, and how hath compassion on thee. And he departed and began to publish in the Decapolis how great things Jesus had done for him, and all men did marvel. So the golden text says, Howbeit Jesus suffered him not, but saith unto him, Go home to thy friends and tell them how great things the Lord hath done for thee, and had compassion for thee. So today we're going to observe Jesus' power over demons. We're going to realize that the Lord has authority over the supernatural, and to live knowing that Jesus can set us free from all evil. The devil hates God and all who follow him.
Amen.
There's some bacon and boiled eggs here. The thief cometh not before to steal and to kill and to destroy. I am come that they might have life, that they might have it more abundantly. He has authority over everything spiritual. So to develop in the story, the oppressed man approaches. After Jesus calmed the storm in Mark 4, he arrived in the area of Gardenias. The residents there were Gentiles. As Jesus arrived, a demon-possessed man ran to him. The man was homeless and lived in the tombs. People had tried to bind him, but no one could tame him. This man cried out and cut himself day and night. Not all mental illness is demon-possessed, but all sickness comes from the world because Adam sinned. We inherit a sinful nature and bodies that fail. Jesus came to bring deliverance. Christ is the fulfillment of the prophecies in Isaiah. Jesus read the scroll in Luke 4, declaring he fulfilled it. Jesus came to preach deliverance to the captives, gave sight to the blind, and set the oppressed. So we see here that there is conflict. We see how Jesus is above all things, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and that he has power over everything.
Right?
So we're going to go to, and that's in Mark 5, 1 through 5. Meeting the demonic. There is no conflict between the gospel accounts of this miracle happening in the land of Gardenias or the Gardenians. Both phrases refer to the same Gentile area. The story took place in a small town, and if I'm pronouncing it right, Gardasis. The general region was associated with Gardaria, a large city. Jesus had just calmed the storm, prompting the disciples to wonder who could he be? With that still fresh in their minds, the disciples saw a wild, naked man running at them as they reached the shore. Description of the demonic. This man was miserable and abused by unclean spirits. He cut himself and lived in a graveyard. He was an outcast from society and isolated from everyone except the demons that tormented him. The term unclean spirit is synonymous with devil. We should not waste time trying to draw nonsense directions, since Mark uses both interchangeably. Night and day the man cried among the tombs. He could not be restrained. Demons can confer supernatural strength. The wording of the Greek text in verse 3 might imply that at one time he could be bound, but now he no longer could because he was getting worse. As far as anyone could tell, he was beyond help. So, do any of us have a story of someone that they know that they feel maybe a demon or done demon-like things that they would like to share?
The lady I worked for at my old job was a devil worshiper, and she had no faith in God at all. And my old boss listened to that. She was so, you mentioned God to her, and you had nothing covered because you made her mad normally. And her house is just full of weird satanic stuff.
Okay. But does that mean that she was demon possessed?
Yes.
Or she had, so you guys feel that she was?
When I was in college, I lived in a house with a bunch of other guys. They were in the communities.
Okay.
And this guy, one of the guys, I got to witnessing to him, and I was explaining something to him about God. And I don't remember exactly what it was. But every time I would start to explain to him he would get sick to his stomach and go to the bathroom. And he did that about 3 or 4 times. And, you know, I don't know. I just wondered if he demon possessed or something.
Yeah,
Maybe it was just me.
So every time you mention God, he would get sick.
Well, every time I would start to explain like the gospel to him or what I was explaining, he would say, stop, I gotta go to the bathroom, I'm getting sick. And I never really got a chance to finish it. He just kept getting sick, and he was fine after I was done, after we were done.
Yes,
You know. But I just wondered if he was, I don't know.
Yeah, now, I have a sister that's, we all believe she's demon possessed. She does the most evil things. She works, well, I don't know if she's still working at Henry Ford as a sitter. And if they would try to get her, she would get them. If they spit on her, she spit on them. And she's always trying to cause chaos among people. Like she would try to break you guys up, to tell you one thing and tell you something else. So my family really believes that she's demon possessed because there's nothing good in her. Even when she was little, she used to steal my mom's jewelry and said, "Daddy, these are mine." I mean, she's always, all her life, have done mean things.
We're full house.
Kathy, were you gonna say something?
I have someone I really think is possessed with God. And he's a family member. I raised him. And he knows I'm a Christian and I don't hide God. I talk about him when I want to. And he got tired of it. And I said, "Don't come over." You know, God's my God. He stood up and he said, the last time we talked, he stood up and he said, "I'm tired of hearing about your God." Stood up and I said, "You're not gonna talk to my God that way." And he turned around and I said, "You believe and don't come back." And until this day, I really think that that guy has got demon in him. Some pictures even sent that he sent me through the internet. Oh my Lord, oh, it looks so scary, it looks like a demon.
Okay. The conflict, and that's in Mark 5, 6 to 13. Demons. The man ran toward Jesus, getting closer. The demon recognized Jesus. In contrast to the disciples who pondered Jesus' identity in the preceding chapter, despite knowing about Jesus,
Too busy making
demons
apple
remained
crisps.
confused. Knowing about Jesus is not enough. The man ran to Jesus and begged Jesus not to torment him. It is difficult to tell how much this man was in control of his actions and how much the demons were. Usually God simply cast demons out rather than talking to them at will. That tells us that this story was not meant to be a template for modern day exorcism. As some Christians assume when they ask for the demon's name. The scope of this exorcism is greater than any other in the Gospels. It is worse to be inhabited by many demons than by one. We do not know how many demons this man had. The size of a Roman legion at the time was over 6,000 and both infantry and cavalry were common. However, they only declared that there were many, not that they were the exact count of the Roman legion. The vast numbers highlighted the tremendous power of Jesus. The demons knew Jesus' identity, that he had power over them, and that he would judge them. They begged not to be tormented before the time and not to be cast into the abyss. Demons are powerful. They are powerless before God. Jesus has total power, not only over creation, but over the supernatural. So we don't know how many demons were inside this man that he possessed. We just know it was many.
Really?
Mary Magdalene had 7,
Yes,
supposedly.
yes, that's correct. pigs. That's Mark 5:10-13. The demons begged to be sent into the pigs. Surprisingly, Jesus granted their request. Why did Jesus grant them their request? Sincere Christians have proposed a variety of explanations. Since the gospel writers do not clearly provide the answer, we will survey some of the explanations without picking one. We should try to come to an understanding and be charitable toward others who disagree. It is possible the demons were trying to stir up trouble for Jesus and hope their actions will result in him being asked to leave the region. Alternatively, perhaps the demons simply liked death and destruction. Since demons do not seem to like being without a host, some Christians think they were not intended to destroy the herd. In this view, Jesus was judging the demons. He allowed them into the pigs, and either the pigs preferred to drown themselves rather than be possessed, or Jesus himself drowned the pigs as judgment upon the demons. While Jesus did curse the fig tree, there are no other record miracles of Jesus that are destructive. For that reason, it seems unlikely that Jesus drove the pigs into the sea. But in any case, why would he allow the pigs to die? Several ideas have been proposed. First, the death of the herd revealed that Jesus was dealing with. It is the one thing to say Jesus cast out many demons out of a man. This is another to see a herd of 2,000 pigs trampled down a cliff and drowned. It highlights the great number of demons and the great power of Jesus. Second, upon seeing the pigs drown, those tending the pigs went back to town and reported all that had happened. That caused Jesus' actions to be more widely known in the way that might have happened if Jesus had simply cast the demons out. Third, pigs were unclean for Jews. Some wondered whether there were Jews who helped raise these pigs or ate them. Jesus could have been removing a source of defilement. So we don't know why he sent them, into pigs. Now, you say there was 2,000 pigs, so does that mean that there has possibly been 2,000 plus demons inside the region? Because it means an army, an army of people. Although we do not know with certainty why Jesus allowed the demons to enter the pigs, we clearly see that one man was worth more than thousands of pigs. This miracle brought tremendous attention to Jesus' power and his compassion on the man. So the demons, they knew Jesus. They called him out by his name. They asked him, to show a little grace with them, not to just, go down to the abyss. They want to go back to where they came from. And it also showed that these demons were very strong. Not even chains could hold them down. They were very destructive. They were strong. And they had a strong will. So in this story, we are seeing how Jesus trumps over evil, trumps over these demons, and how they listen to his command, and how they're holding conversation, back and forth. I think that would have scared me if I saw Jesus talking to this demon. I wouldn't have wanted to be around to witness that. The fallout. The response of people, Mark 5:14-17. The people were frightened when they saw the man in his right mind. Jesus had far greater power than the demons who had made this man impossible to overcome. The people were terrified. Perhaps they valued money rather than this man being healed. The loss of the pigs was a blow. However, Luke gave a different motivation for the people asking Jesus to leave. They were seized with great fear. This is comparable to the fear that the disciples had after Jesus calmed the storm. They were in awe and terror of Jesus. rather than asking Jesus to do further miracles, they asked him to leave, and he obliged. It is the same in our lives. Typically, we ask Jesus to leave us alone. He often will. Now, in your case, Kathy, you asked the man to leave, right? And he left?
Yes, but he keeps coming back. And I won't answer the door anymore. I see who he is. Not only that, he lived with me. I raised him. He had a whole basement to himself. I forgot at this time how old he was. I was gone out of town for a weekend. He tells me after the fact, he and a friend had played with a Ouija board down in the basement. I just about out of that, you know. But I was practicing Catholic. I didn't know what else to do. You know, you think, ask the priest to come over and bless every room in my house. He opened up a parlor, right?
Yes, yes. So, I bet it was. The man went throughout let me see. The response of the man and of Jesus. Jesus granted the request of the demons. I'm going to read this again because I don't know where I left off. Surprisingly, the only request he did not grant was that of the man to follow him. Instead, he told him to proclaim what the Lord had done for him. Now, after the demons were out of him, this man wanted to follow Jesus. Yes, Jesus, can I follow you on your journeys and trip? And Jesus told him, no, you can't follow. In response, the man obeyed and proclaimed what Jesus had done. What Jesus does and what the Lord does are inseparable. Taken together with the fact that Jesus calmed the sea, something only God could do, and drove out a legion of demons, Mark was making it increasingly clear that Jesus is the Lord. Mark began his gospel by calling Jesus the Son of God, and he continued to pile up evidence to support that claim. The man went throughout the Decapolis declaring that Jesus had done. He was probably a Gentile, given his home was in Gentile country. His testimony caused everyone to marvel, and when Jesus later returned, the crowd was ready to bring people to him. This man was an effective witness who prepared the area for Jesus' later ministry. A man who once had been considered a lost cause proved an effective witness for God. If there are people you consider hopeless, do not give up. God may have plans for you. After crossing the sea during a storm and delivering this man, Jesus got back into the boat and went to the other side. Jesus crossed the sea and passed through a storm to teach the disciples about who he is and to reach one man. Jesus cares deeply about individuals, not crowds. So in Mark 5:1, recounts Jesus healing a man possessed by